Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a necklace and a pair of earrings today using some of the contents of the May 2023 Sam's Bead box called Waltz of the Flowers and the most recent bargain bead box called the Summer Sunrise Collection. I'm mixing boxes today. And here I have the check glass 6mm melon beads. Teal white silk gold is the color. And here I have the 8mm check glass melon beads. Gold dust clear crystal is the color. And here I have the check glass kiwi beads. They're 10 by 13.5mm and white opal gold is the color. And here I have the check glass daisy spacers. The color is satin gold and they're 5mm. And here I have the 8 by 7mm crystal faceted lantern beads, teal coating that was in the bargain bead box. This is what I'm going to use for my focal. I have the check glass mandala flower, 18mm teal gold. I have the only one left that I have of the check glass druck beads. It's 8mm and the gold dust is the gold dust white silk is the color on it. And then I have one of the little lantern beads from the bargain bead box and one of the daisy spacers and an eye pin. And here I have my findings. I have a ball head pin and one of the little 6mm melon beads I'm going to use as a dangle off this extender piece of extender chain I've got here. I've got a lobster clasp, a few jump rings, 4 wire guardians, and 4 2x2 crimp tubes. And here I have what I'm going to use for my earrings. I have 2 of the kiwi beads, 2 of the lantern beads from the bargain bead box, a couple of daisy spacers, a couple of ear wires, a couple of head pins. And I have my soft flex beading wire in fine. The color on this is champagne, but you can use whatever bead stringing wire you have. I have my bead stoppers. I have my chain nose pliers, my tweezer pliers, and my round nose pliers. I have both pairs of my cutters. I have both pairs of my crimping pliers. I use the Xerox ones for crimping, and I use the bead-along ones, the part there at the end that has the half circle on each side, to tuck in the burrs after I cut off wire. I have both pairs of my cutters. I use one pair for bead stringing wire and the other pair for craft wire, head pins, eye pins, things like that. And I have my little New Orleans shot glass that I'm going to put my wires in when I cut them off. I think that's everything. I'll try to put links for everything I can find links for in the description box below. I'll also put my code for the bargain bead box in case if you're not subscribed to the bargain bead box and you decide you want to be. And I'll link the page that takes you straight to the page to sign up for the subscription if you want to. The code will save you $2 off your first box. I don't have a code to give you for the Sam's box because this is a box that was gifted to me by my sweet friend Kira. So let me get some of my beads poured out and I'll be back and we'll get started. Okay, I'm going to start with my focal here, and I forgot when I went over my materials I didn't get out a head pin for my focal. I need a head pin too, and I didn't have one out. These head pins are a different shade of gold, but I don't have any head pins in this color gold, so I'm hoping that they'll blend okay. You probably won't see a whole lot of it anyway. I'm going to put my mandala flower on here. And I'm going to do a simple loop. I'm going to go just a little bit above the bead because I don't want to crack my bead. I'm going to bend it at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to cut off and leave about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. Hold this part so it doesn't go flying. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and go to the tip of the plier, and I need to cut that off again because I didn't get a good flush cut there. You need to get a good flush cut when you do this. Okay, now I'm going to go to the end here and with my round nose pliers make sure there's no wire sticking out here. And then I'm going to start to roll back a loop. Make sure to get it closed really well. Now I'm going to open my loop and thread on my eye pin. Close my loop. Now I'm going to put my duck bead and one of my spacer beads and my little lantern bead from the bargain bead box. Now I'm going to go a little bit above this lantern bead because I don't want to break my bead, and those little crystals are easy to break. I'm going to bend at a 90-degree angle. Take my cutters. I'm going to cut off, leaving about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. Hold on to this part. I'm going to take my round nose pliers. And I didn't get a good flush cut on that again. I don't know what's going on with me today. Now I'm going to go to the end here, make sure there's no wire sticking out here again. And I'm going to roll back a loop. Make sure to get it closed up really well. Straighten it up here. So that's going to be my focal for my necklace. So now I'm going to get my beads out and string up one side, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've got my beads poured out here that I need for one side of my necklace. So I'm going to string here. I'm going to do 3 of the 6mm melon beads. Daisy spacer, one of the lantern beads from the bargain bead box, and a daisy spacer, one of the 8mm melon beads, and a daisy spacer, another lantern bead, and a daisy spacer, 3 more of the 6mm melon beads, some kind of piece of thread there that keeps attacking me when I'm making these videos. I don't know where it comes from. Now I'm going to do a daisy spacer, and it's still there. I don't know what that is. And then I'm going to do a melon bead. I mean a lantern bead. And then a daisy spacer. And then one of the kiwi beads. And a daisy spacer. And a lantern bead. And a daisy spacer. Another one of the 8mm melon beads. And a daisy spacer, another lantern bead, and a daisy spacer, another one of the kiwi beads, and a daisy spacer, Another one of the lantern beads. A daisy spacer. Three of the little 6mm melon beads. And a daisy spacer. A lantern bead. And a daisy spacer. One of the 8mm melon beads. And a daisy spacer. One of the lantern beads. And a daisy spacer. And three of the little 6mm melon beads. So that's what I've got for one side of my necklace. Now let me get my crimp beads and wire guardians and I'll crimp it. Hold on. Okay, now I'm going to crimp here. I'm going to take one of my crimp beads and one of my wire guardians. I'm going to squish in my little wire guardian a little bit. Now I'm going to come back down the other channel of the wire guardian. And back through my crimp tube. Make sure not to let my wires get crossed. Because we need our wires to go in each individual channel when we crimp, and it won't do that if they're crossed, which will make the crimp more likely to fail. So I'm going to hold my wires apart. I'll take my Zuron crimping pliers and I'm going to go in that part there that has the tooth. I'm going to lay the tooth on top of my crimp and I'm going to squeeze. And that puts each wire in its own channel there. Now there's three parts here that are little half circles on each side. The middle one is for the 2x2 crimp tube, which is what I'm using. So I'm going to lay my crimp in that one. I'm going to squeeze. Then I'm going to go down to the next one that's for the 1mm crimp tubes and squeeze again, just to get a little tighter. Now I'm going to tug. That's good. So now I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. Now I'm going to go to this other side. Cut my wire off my spool. I'm just going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to take my crimp bead and my wire guardian. Tuck my little wire guardian a little bit. Come down the other channel of the wire guardian. Go back through my crimp tube. Make sure to keep my wires from getting crossed. And I like to go through a bead or two on this side to try to get my hands out of the way when I'm trying to crimp, because everything's in the way on this side, the beads and your hands and all. Just look and make sure the wires are not crossed. Hold on to the wire guardian and pull the wire through. Now I want to make sure there's no slack in my piece, but I don't want it to be very tight either. If it's too tight, it won't drape well. So now I'm going to take my crimping pliers and go on the part with the toothing in, lay the tooth on top of my crimp tube and squeeze. Now I'm going to go into the middle part of the circular parts at the end there. Lay my crimp in there. Squeeze. Then go down to the next one. Squeeze again. I'm going to tug. That's good. So now I'm going to cut off my wire, extra wire. Okay, so that's one side of my necklace. Now I'm going to string up the other side just exactly like this, and I'm going to crimp it off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll put it together. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got both sides done now. Now I'm just going to put it together. So I'm going to take my, got an 8mm jump ring here. I'm going to open it up and thread on one side of my necklace. My focal that I made on the other side of my necklace. Close my jump ring back. Sure, get it closed back really well. Okay, now I'm going to go down here, and I've got a 6mm jump ring. I'm going to open it up, put on this side of my necklace and my lobster clasp. Didn't have a hold of it good. Okay, now I'm going to close up my jump ring. Make sure it's closed really well. I'm going to take another 6mm jump ring. Open it up. Put on this side of my necklace. And I got about a 2.5-inch piece of extender chain here. This is all the chain I'm going to put on it. I don't think it needs any chain. I think it's plenty long enough. And then that extender chain will give people the option to extend it if they want to. So there's my necklace. So now I'm going to get my bead that I'm going to dangle off the end of my extender chain. I'll be back. Okay, I've got a ball head pin here. You don't have to use a ball head pin. You can use whatever head pin you want to. And I only had one of these little 6mm melon beads left, so I'm going to use that as a dangle. I'm going to take my pliers and go to the tip of the pliers. I'm going to do a wrap loop for this. So I'm going to bend the wire over the pliers at a 90-degree angle. Take the round nose pliers, put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. I'm going to bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. I'm going to take my first, before I forget, I'm going to open my loop a little bit and thread on my extender chain. Close my loop back. Then I'm going to take one pair of my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. I'm going to pull this part down till it's at a pretty much a 90-degree angle to this. I'll take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers, start to wrap. Get that first wrap good and tight. I'm just going to wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Now I'm going to take my cutters, cut off the extra wire. I'm going to take my bead-along crimping pliers and go to that part at the end that has the little half circle on each side. And I'm going to tuck in my little burr that's left where I cut off my wire. So there's my necklace all done. Now I'm going to get my stuff together and make a little pair of earrings. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I've got a head pin here. I'm going to put on one of my kiwi beads and a spacer bead and one of the lantern beads from the bargain bead box. I'm just going to do a simple loop here, so I'm going to go a little bit above the bead so that I don't crack the bead. Bend at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to cut off and leave about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. I'm going to take my round nose pliers and go to the tip of the pin here and make sure there's nothing sticking out over here and start rolling back a loop. Make sure to get the loop closed really well. And now I'm going to take my pliers and open my loop back up. Thread on my ear wire. Close my loop back. So there's my little earring. So now I'm going to make the other one off camera and then I'll be back. Okay, so there's my necklace and pair of earrings made with some of the contents from the May 2023 Sam's Bead box that was gifted to me by my sweet friend Kira, and the latest bargain bead box. Like I said, I'll leave my coupon code to the bargain bead box in the description box below, and a link to the page to sign up for the subscription. If you decide you want to do that, it'll save you $2 off your first box. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook and Instagram and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.